Hi everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. I have a sweet little card for you today. I'm going to be making it with the Zany Zoo bundle. But before I get going on that, I'm going to remind you one last time that I'm going to be closing registration for my online class, my Try It card class. Sometimes I say club, it's not a club. I just get confused. There's too many classes and they all converge and the words are kind of close together. So if you go watch this video, let me see if I can untie this one. Oh, here's the other one. This one is the untied version because, you know, I made it once and then I filmed it. So I have two of them. If you go watch this video, this one's not complete. It doesn't have the jewels and it doesn't have all of the dies on it. But this will fully explain my Try It class. So I do one of these every time we have a new catalog release. So I do it 3 times a year. It's my most popular class that I do. And normally it fills up. This time it's not going to fill up because I'm going to close registration before we get to that point because we're going to start cutting paper for it soon. Although I was going to close it Friday, I might leave it open towards through the weekend because I did realize that we could start cutting. I want to get started cutting stuff. I'm getting antsy to cut. I'm not going to cut. My husband's going to cut. But we can start cutting my May card club. So I have something that we can cut this weekend. So I'm going to leave it open maybe through Monday to give you a couple more days to get, because I know some of you are going to miss it because I normally leave it open through the month before a new catalog starts. But it is going to close soon, early next week. But what it is every time we have a new catalog, I do what's called a Try It class. This time there's 12 projects. Each project is featured around new paper. So from that new paper, then we make a card. So you'll get to see the new paper. I get as many pieces of paper on the card as I can without making the card look tacky. So some of it will have more. Some of you will have different pieces of paper than other people will. Always on 1 or 2 of the cards, I can get almost all of the pieces, so you'll be able to see all of it. And just as the name implies, then you get to try it. And you'll get to try almost all of the ribbons. You'll get to try almost all of the embellishments. So you get to try them all. You might not get like every embellishment. You might not get every color, but then you get to see, you know, if it's called glossy whatever, you get to see them. If it's the new in color ribbons, you might not get them in every color. But like with this one, you're going to get to see the pebbled path. Whether or not we use the other 4 colors, I haven't designed them, so I don't know. Once upon a time when I first started this, it tended to be that each suite had a ribbon and an embellishment, and so it made it a little bit easier. There will be new die cuts. There will be new punches. There will be new folders. And then it's all fun folds and templates. So you get a really cool little PDF booklet style that will have all of the instructions, all of the photos, all of the measurements, and all of that you can keep. About half will be fun folds, about half will be template based. So you get that, and then you can just use that in the future with all of your other projects if you're looking for a fun fold. And then each card also has, I'm video based, so they'll all have a video tutorial that goes with them. And that's where the bulk of your information is. And then in the video, I will show you the suite in full, and any little tips and tricks I have learned as I work with the suites, although this time there will be less. So for example, when we do the Zany Zoo, I will show you the full side of all of the papers. So even if you don't get all of the papers, you'll see it. So I'm going to do the Zany Zoo now for this card. Not using the paper because I got to save the paper for my class. This time your class will be in the mail by May 9th or 10th, which is a little earlier than normal, but we are leaving the country on May 12th, so this has got to be out before I can pack for my trip. So then my daughter's going to come and enjoy all of my new stuff as I leave. She's going to be staying here and she'll get to use it all. So it'll be a quick in and out the door for me because I can't order this stuff until May 2nd. So here's the Zany Zoo paper. As you can see, one side of it is black and white. Super fun, super cute pattern. And after I'm done filming this card for you, then I'm going to design my Zany Zoo card for the class. And then this other side, so there's no stamping in my Try It class. So you have to have very minimal supplies, and then you just pretty much put the cards together. But a lot of times we don't have to stamp, because on this card you can see we'll just be able to cut some of these little figures out, and then that will stand in for the stamping. So you won't have to be able to stamp. I'm already really looking forward to putting this together because it's going to be super cute. So that is the Zany Zoo paper. And then you can see like there's an outdoor, there's camping, there's crafting, and then there's like a theater scene. So each paper kind of has a theme. And then over here we have like a birthday party, the outdoor, the theater, the crafting, the theater. So kind of the paper matches some of the stamps. So you can kind of work back with it. And then it does have, I know it has matching ribbon. I haven't looked at the catalog yet. I did pull it out last night. It was a beautiful night outside, and I was going to start to kind of put my list together so I can start making this. But we also, you know, we have a new kitten, and it was her first. Our one cat just stays in the back with us. We have a privacy fence, so when I'm outside, she's just really well behaved, and she just stays there with us. And the new kitten, she has to learn her boundaries. So there was no looking at a catalog. There was no floating in the pool or doing my little workout. There was only kitten babysitting. And then my husband got home and he took over. But by then I was exercising, and that was the end of that. So back to, you know, when you have a new animal in your house. She's almost a year old, but last summer she never got to venture out. We have an outdoor cat house, so she was in that. So for this card, I'm going to use Mossy Meadow. I am going to use this little strip of white, and then this is espresso. And with the espresso, I am going to run it through the, this goes with the tree rings. It was in the mini catalog, and it made it into the big catalog, so it'll be in there. And then I'm going to stamp with this. With this card, I designed it kind of for a guy, so you'd be able to give it to anybody in your life. It doesn't have to be a guy, but I kept the embellishments and the sparkle and stuff to a minimum, because sometimes we like to just have those cards in our stash, so we'll be able to use them if we need to. You could give this to your grandpa, to your next door neighbor, anybody who likes a little bit of outdoor time. So I have the skunk who has his binoculars out because he likes some outdoor time. So let's run the pieces through our die cut machine. I had my little bow who blew out, and then I realized I couldn't use it because I had the tree rings. So I really need to get some new plates up here. And these are all from this bundle. So let's cut the little framelit out. And then there is this fun tag, little banner tag that comes in the set. And then there are some pine trees. And I'm gonna do 2 sets of them. So we'll do these 2 first. And then there's some clouds, and I'm gonna do 2 clouds. So the first time I'm just gonna run this through. You wanna make certain that this doesn't move. But if I do it first and it moves, then I'll just flip the paper over and I'll do it again, because I have to run the trees and the cloud through for twice. And these are little scraps of white paper. When I cut white paper, and I cut lots of white paper, then I just keep all these little offcuts, and these were just perfect sized for this. So there's my tag. And then here is my skunk. And normally I would color that first before I ran it through, because it's a little bit easier to color when it's full size and not on there. But because I wanted to be able to color my trees, I opted to do it this way. So there's a cloud and my trees. Let me run the rest of these through. Those are all cut out, so now I'm going to run the tree rings through. Now, if you aren't saving your paper, you could most certainly use the paper that comes with this, because it'd be really cute. Or if it's 3 years from now and you originally bought the paper and you're out of it, then this is a good stand-in for it as well because it matches and it looks really cute with it. So there's always alternatives to the designer series paper, and while the paper makes it super cute and really quick and easy, you don't always have to use the paper. And I think especially if you're going to give this card to a guy, this is really fun. So let's color these in. I'm going to start with my little tag, and it just so happened that Misty Moonlight was a returning color, and I had Misty Moonlight blends. So this is one, if you bought Misty Moonlight when they came out a long time ago, mine was just sitting there and I didn't even know I had it because I tend to sell all of my retired colors because I just don't have the space. My studio is tiny. And sometimes frankly, I think I'm going to go start raving mad in here because it's tiny. And especially when we get to the end of a catalog and 2 minis, I have so much stuff in here that I feel like I can hardly move. And I really do feel like I can go crazy. So I don't keep anything. I sell it all once it's retired. So when I was going through stuff and then I found 2 of these in the back of a cupboard, it's like, and they work really well. So I'm going to color that in with this is the light, Misty Moonlight. From however many years ago we had it, and it just sat there. As long as you keep them stored flat. I'm gonna let that dry. I like that it gives a little bit of the moonlight. It'll make it feel like our little skunks out at night. Then I'm gonna take my trees, and I just went with 4 greens. That way we'll have a little bit of a forest feel. And I'm just gonna use the brush tips. So this is dark seafoam. And it doesn't matter if you get a big one or a small one, just color them 4 different colors. And they can be darks and lights if you just have 2 greens. So there's dark seafoam. And then let's get, I don't even know what I pulled out, dark old olive. We made this at camp. So there's old olive. I love the way the blends literally just blend. This I can tell is Mossy Meadow, dark Mossy Meadow. If you do this with markers, you have to be a little bit more careful. You can see the lines as you color. Now, if you're making this in winter, you might want to leave a little bit of the white on it. I don't want it to look like my skunks out in winter because I'm done with winter. And then this is light Mossy Meadow. And I went with 2 Mossy Meadows because that was the color of my card. So that'll kind of pull into it. I want to make sure all my tips are green. There's no snow tips in my forest. And then I'm just going to keep my clouds white. So those are done. And then let's do our little skunk. So I'm going to start with the parts that are easiest, and that will narrow down the part that needs to be black. So I'm going to do Azure Afternoon, which is a new color, but you could do any blue. I just wanted to use the new blue to see what it looked like for his little eye. And then I just pulled out Pumpkin Pie for the tiniest bit of orange on the bird's feet and her beak. And then while I had it out, I'm like, well, I don't know what color skunk nails are, but mine are going to be orange because it just added a tiny more pop of color. And then I have Sorbet, any of the reds. If you want a little red bird, you could do a blue bird. I just want, again, I wanted a little bit more of a pop of color. And she's almost too tiny to have any shading, but I made her wing just a tiny bit darker, and then when it's all said and done, I'm not even sure that you can tell. So feel free to just color her one color. And then I did the binoculars. I did those in granite just so they would be a different color than the skunk. I kept them kind of light because there's not a lot of it to color in. but that way it's a different color. Oh, and I did her nose in granite too, just so again, it was a different color. Now to do the skunk, obviously you want her white stripe to stay white. So I started with the dark basic black. When you work with basic black blend, you need to be careful because it does smear quite a lot because it's a deep color because it's black. So, but I did want her to be black. So kind of work with it and don't put it right next to the edge. Allow for some room for it to bleed. And if you go right over the top of any of the lines, it can cover the line. So again, we're not going to put a lot, but just enough that we'll be able to blend that in. And then over here on her tail, make sure you don't color her white part. So we want her tail to be nice and white. So that's good. And get a little bit of her ear up there. And then the rest, that's enough black that we'll be able to blend that in. And now I'm going to work with smoky slates. So I have dark and light smoky slate, but this will be enough now to blend it in. So I'm going to take, let's do our light smoky slate. And I'm going to blend this. Now I'll use this to get right up there next to the edge. And I'm just going to kind of blend this around with that dark black. Kind of pull it over here. So it's got more color that's going to kind of go up next to fill in the rest of that white. So it kind of looks a mess right now, doesn't it? But it starts to blend around. See, the more you work with it, the more it blends around. But if you have too much of that black and it starts blending around, it's going to be messy. Now I can go to my dark smoky slate, and where those two are marrying in the middle, really blend those. Because the blends get their name because they blend. So now where they meet here, make sure not to get your binoculars there. So now we have that illusion of the black, but it's not so much that it has covered up any of our stamping lines, which is the danger on something that's this tiny if you use black. See how it just kind of disappears in there? And dark smoky slate is dark, so it can also kind of overwhelm. But we've got that light in there now that will help us kind of stop because it's already colored in and we're not feeling like we need to color in the white. There we go. Now she's got her little white stripe and she has the feeling that she is black because we want her to look like a skunk. Now a couple of last little things of stamping. I do want, there's a little birthday sentiment in here, and now that this is nice and dry, you don't want to do it before it's dry. So this says happy birthday to you. Again, this makes a great little card. It's fun for you to stamp, and then it's great to keep in your stash. And now that that's dry, the black on there won't smear. If you do it before the blue has set or the blend has set, there's a chance it will get a little bit smudgy, but not now that it's dried. So I didn't want to really add too much of any kind of embellishment or ribbon or anything because again, I want to keep this so I can give it to my nephew or, you know, an 8-year-old little boy or my 81-year-old father, because it's just kind of an appropriate anybody that likes the great outdoors or likes to go camping. Or, you know, has had the fortunate of having their dog sprayed by a skunk, which, you know, if you live in the Midwest, that's most of us. Nothing like the smell of skunk in summertime in Indiana. So this way, and then if you decide at the last minute you're going to give it to an 8-year-old little Girl Scout, you can always add some bling to it. So got that on there. And then I'm not going to use, I might use 1 or 2 little dimensionals, but for the most part it's just going to be stuck straight on here. So I'm just going to kind of slide this under, which is nice that you can do with the twine. I've been using a lot of twine, you may notice recently, because without knowing, I mean, most of our ribbon has left, and without knowing which ribbon I'm using in my Try It class, I don't want to use up ribbon that I'm going to then be a yard short of because I used it on cards for videos. So we've got this. Now let's use our little clouds up here. This one I'm going to, we'll put it over here. Just kind of get it underneath the thing. And this one over here we'll put, having a hard time picking these guys up. This one can kind of overlap onto our nice moonlight tag. And then we'll do 2 of the trees on the card, and then we'll do 2 of them with little dimensionals. And this, the pieces in this, they could easily become a Christmassy kind of winter card if you want to, when the seasons change. It's April and I'm done, ready for summer. So that's why I want these to have snow on them now, but you could easily make them be snowy trees if you want. You could add some glitter to them later on. So just kind of stagger them to fill up a little bit of the space. And then I do want, we have skunks, which, you know, are cute as can be, unless, you know, they sprayed your dog or something. But so that can be the not great side of an Indiana summer. But we have fireflies, which there's nothing more charming than a July evening and all the fireflies. And there's nothing, you know, that's some Indiana sparkle. That's good for everybody. So I'm just going to take my Wink of Stella and my bone folder, and it looks perfect on this. It'll be a little bit hard for you to see it, I'm sure. Get that shadow out of the way. So I'll see if I can get an up-close picture on my website. Because when you do this on these darker colors especially, it really, really does look like fireflies off in the distance, because it's just that little bit of twinkle. There's ways that you can fling it this way if you want bigger flings of more intense drops of it, but I just want ever so slight looks of fireflies. Let's see if I can get it to kind of show in the dark for you. I don't know if that'll pick up. It's a drabby gray day. We've had a couple of really, really beautiful days reminding us that summer's on the way, and then it's just Mother Nature saying, just kidding, it is spring. It's so warm. It's not cold yet again, but it's a gray. So I'm back to studio lights and no real light. Hopefully you can see that. So super cute little set. There'll be a lot that you can do with it. If you like to stamp, or if you like to stamp with your children, or if your children like to stamp with you, then this is a perfect little set for them. It would be a fun suite to have with your scouting troops. And I say Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts love to stamp too, and this is right up their alley. So if you have a scout troop that you do crafts with, then this whole entire suite is perfect for them. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you back here later. Bye.